Hey guys, it's Rebecca from Mama Bear Custom Wreaths, and welcome to my channel, Mama Bear Custom Wreaths, where I make wreaths and all things home decor, and I show you how I do it all. If you guys have not hit the subscribe button, please do so you guys don't miss out on any of my fun tutorials. So today we're going to be making a St. Patrick's Day wreath. And we're gonna be using our method that I've just gotten so much feedback from. I'm just gonna name it the Mama Bear No Fray method. So we're gonna be using the Mama Bear No Fray method. And essentially what that is we use 6-inch Deco Mesh and we position it, or we put it into our wreaths in such a way that we don't need scissors, so that pretty much reduces or eliminates a lot of the fraying that happens with our Deco Mesh. Okay, so we're gonna be doing that today. So let's get to our wreath. We're gonna be using a 14-inch wreath base. Okay, this wreath base, if you notice, has 1, 2, 3, 4 bars, and then it has 6 crossbars, which give us 6 sections. Each section is going to take up a full 6-inch, and these are 5 yards. 5 yards of the 6-inch Deco Mesh. Each section will require that, okay? And we're gonna get our Deco Mesh, the loudest plastic in the world. Get that out and ready to go. And we're also gonna need some Chanel stems. Now, I get a lot of questions, where do I get my products, or where can you get your products? So I opened up an Amazon affiliate account so that I can list the materials that I use and other material that I use, and link it in the description so you guys can go on there. If you want to buy the materials that I'm using to make your own wreath, you can go in there and buy them. So we're using the same stuff, and you can rewatch it and make the wreath with the actual material that I'm using. All right, so we're gonna take, I just did it while I was talking, but we're gonna take our Chanel stem and we're gonna fold it in half and just make a V, all right? We're gonna use about 6 of these. Now, if you notice, our wreaths curve. So the curved part is the top part. This is where our mesh is going to come out of. So we're gonna flip it over where it's concave, and this is where we're gonna start, so that our wreath, our poofs, show up on the curved side, if that makes sense. So let's flip it over to where it's concave. We're gonna take our V Chanel stem and we're gonna put it on the first bar, between the first bar and a crossbar, and we're just gonna tie it. 1, 2, 3, and secure it so that it looks like this. Now we're gonna take our Deco Mesh roll and we're gonna pinch the end of it about this much, just so that we have a firm grip on it. And we're gonna put that right in the center of our Chanel little V legs, and then tie it. Now we're just gonna tie it once or twice because we're gonna untie it later on and then retie it again. So right now we just need to tie it once or twice just so it's secure for the time being. And now it looks like this. So now, remember, we have 4 rows, 4 wires, 1, 2, 3, 4, which means they create 3 sections. Section 1 between wires 1 and 2, section 2 between wires 2 and 3, and section 3 between wires 3 and 4. So we are going to put our Deco Mesh through bars 1 and 2, and then we're going to just close our hand, make a fist. Doesn't have to be tight, just make a fist. And this little space right here, we're gonna leave that amount. We're gonna remember about how much that amount is, because we're gonna keep doing this over and over again. We're gonna make the poofs about this size. That way the poofs are semi the same size. And then we have it through the first row. Now we're going to push through to the second space pull out our Deco Mesh, open up our hand and hold it in our fist. And now we have 2 poofs. We're going to put our Deco Mesh through the second and third space, open our hand and make sure the poof's the same size, close our hand over it. We now have 3 poofs through our 3 spaces. Now, we're going to take the rest of our Deco Mesh and just go right back down to the first space between bars 1 and 2. We're going to pull that out and then again, just put it in our wrist and hold it. And we're gonna do this to the second space, third space, and we'll just do it all the way across until we get to this crossbar and run out of mesh, of our Deco Mesh. Like I said before, a whole roll is going to be used in one section. And I'm gonna keep doing this to the end of the section, and then I'll be right back so that I can show you how to tie it to this at the end of this section. All right, I'll see you in just a second. So we are back, and this is all of my poofs. And I have about this much left over, which is about as much as we want left over. Now, we're gonna take another one of our little V Chanel stems. We're gonna also tie that to our first bar and crossbar. We're gonna tie that in, secure it, and then we have our little V. So we're gonna take our leftover mesh tail here, and we're gonna secure that once, twice, okay? Because we're gonna open this up in just a sec. So this looks pathetic, doesn't it? Don't worry, I can poof it up right now to show you how big it gets, which I've done in prior videos, but then it's so hard to work with the rest of the wreath. So we're gonna poof it out at the end, okay? So this is what it looks like upside down. So this is our concave side of our wreath. That's what it looks like. And the result on top of our wreaths, the top part of our wreaths, is this. So now we're gonna take our second roll of Deco Mesh. And we are going to go back to our same little tail that we just tied on. This is why I mean don't tighten them too tight because we're gonna be opening them up. We're gonna open up our little tail again, and we're gonna do the same exact thing we did with our first section. We are going to pinch our tail, put that in there, and then just tie it. Now we can tie it about 3 or 4 times to secure it, because now we're not gonna open it anymore. And then we are going to push in our tail. We can cut this off if you want to use a scissor, or you just tuck it in to one of the poofs before it. Okay, and now we're gonna start the same process all over again. And I'm gonna do that all the way until I finish my wreath, all 6 sections, and I'll be back. All right, guys, so this is what it looks like right now. A little sad. But we gotta poof out our poofs and you're gonna see the difference. So this is the before picture. Now we can start, let's just start in this section here. And what we're basically going, let me turn it around. What we're basically going to be doing is just opening up our poofs. So each poof right now, if you see it like this, it's just wrinkled like this. So if you just pull that apart and let it blossom, you see how big it is now? And we're gonna do that to every single poof. It's a lot of mesh and lots of poofs we're gonna have to get through, but it is going to make our wreath look just so full and so much bigger than if we leave it. I'm going to do that all the way around my wreath. And I'll be back when I'm done. All right, guys, so this is our wreath once we have fixed all of our poofs. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, so now that we have our wreath base, let's add all of our goodies. I have this adorable little leprechaun stuck in his pot of gold. So we're gonna be adding this sign to our wreath. And I also have these cute little coins, and I have little shamrocks. So we're gonna be adding those to our wreath. And of course, we have to make a bow. So why don't we add our wreath sign to our wreath first? And I am going to use cable mounts. Now, if you've never used these before, these are great because you can just stick them on and then put a Chanel stem and tie it to your wreath. Easy peasy. I do have an Amazon affiliate link in the description box if you want to order some of these. I get them from Amazon. Okay, so let's find where we want to put our wreath sign. I think right there. So what I'm going to do is this is what they look like. Get my Amazon, get my cable mount, and they're really hard to peel. And peel. And I'm just gonna stick it right here. Just stick it, that's it. And then I'm gonna get one more. And I am going to stick that to the bottom of our wreath. So we have two cable mounts, one at the top, one at the bottom. We're gonna get a Chanel stem and we're just gonna poke it through our cable mount. Easy peasy. So we'll put the Chanel stem and we'll just tie it once, and we'll get another Chanel stem and put that through our cable mount, tie that in, and now we have these two little Chanel stems that we're gonna tie our wreath sign to our wreath. And what we're going to do is we are going to tie our actual wreath sign to the metal wires. And you're gonna poke your Chanel stem through our mesh. Okay, so we have our sign down here, and I'm just gonna tie our Chanel stem to the bar. So I have my sign flat against my table, and then I have the wreath on top of it. So this kind of gives me a good idea of the distance that I should tie my wreath sign to my wreath base. I don't want it so tight on there where it's squishing my ruffles, my poofs I mean, and then it just looks squished and it just doesn't look good. So if I put the wreath sign upside down and then I put my wreath on top of it, it's not pressuring it. It's usually a really good distance, and it gives me a fairly good idea of where to tie my sign at. And then I'm just going to roll my Chanel stem, twist it, around my wires on my frame. And there you go. So I can straighten it out where I want it. And then I'm going to tie the bottom part. So that's what our sign looks like on our wreath. Cute! So now let's go ahead and make a bow underneath that. Let's put that aside, and I'm going to use These possibly, I always change my mind. I think I'm gonna use these 3. So we're going to measure our tail, how long we want it. I'm just gonna eyeball it. I think that's a good length right here. For my sign, it's about 10-inch tail, okay? And then we are going to pinch it. Now we're going to make a loop. So this is pinched. Let's unravel this a little bit. This is pinched, and we're gonna measure about how long we want our loop. Now I don't want this to be a giant bow, so I think this is a good size right here. Okay, so if you want to measure it, I made about a 11 and a half inch length. Okay, so we have our tail, we pinch that, and then we measured about how long we want our first loop on our bow to be. So we pinch that end, then we just join with the first pinch. We joined the ribbon where we first pinched it. So now it looks like this, like a squid kind of. Okay, so we turn it sideways, it's starting to look like a bow. So we are going to pinch it, and you see this is the back part now of our ribbon. We're gonna bring this from the back to the front. Now if you want to measure it again, you can do that, or you can just bring it to the front, pinch it, put it underneath your thumb, and then just measure it like this. That looks like it's about the same size. And we have our first bow. Okay, so we're gonna cut our tail with our ribbon scissors. Can you guys tell I teach 4 and 5-year-olds? Can everyone say ribbon scissors? If I were in my classroom. Okay, so that's our first bow. Isn't that pretty? Okay, now the next bow is this plaid one. And we're going to measure our tail. We had said it was what, 10 inches if you want to measure it through here. Okay. Now, if it's too much for you to hold this while you're doing this, you could just take a clip. Clip it where your thumb would be. Put it down and work on this ribbon, if that makes it easier on your hands, because it is kind of hard to be holding with your thumb that bow. And I have a bow maker, so I may make a video. Let me know in the comments if you'd be interested. I just got a new one because my old one broke, but I actually have a bow maker that is easier on your hands to make bows. If you tell me in the comments if you are interested in me making a video showing you how to use that to make your bows, it's a lot easier. I started out making my bows on that, so let me know. Anyway, we're getting to about 10 inches for our tail. And we said that our last loop was about 11 and a half inches. So let's make this one a little bit smaller at about 9 inches, 9 and a half inches. So we measured our tail, 10 inches, pinched that, measured how big we want our loop. And I said, let's just say 10 inches, 10 inches, pinch that, and then just join them and pinch that. Now let's look at here. With our other bow, we do want to make sure that it's a little bit smaller than our last bow so that you can see the bow behind it. So here we go. We have our little squid. Okay. Now we're gonna turn it sideways. Okay. And our bow from the back, our bows, the remaining ribbon that we're gonna use is gonna come from the back, and we're gonna pull it forward. So we said it was 10 inches. If you want to measure it, pinch that and bring it forward. And even if you measure it, I would still measure, make sure it's the same size, that they're even sizes, okay? And then pinch that, and we can cut our tail. And if you don't want to hold this, you could just put another little clip, hold it in place while we work on our third ribbon. Or you can just clip it on top of this one, whichever works for you. But now we have an idea what it's gonna look like, okay? I have long arms. It's like on the other side of the screen. I'm long. Okay, so now this is 1.5 inches or 1.5 ribbon. How cute this is. This one is going to go in the front. This one, let's do our tails at 10 inches. And let's do this loop at about 8 inches, okay? So we have our 10-inch tail, our 8-inch loop, pinch it. It's going to be our loop. 10 inches, 8 inches. Bring this to this pinch, and then make one pinch, and we have our squid. And we're gonna measure it to make sure, and yes, it is smaller. Perfect. So now we are going to pinch, make sure our ribbon it's twisting. So let's untwist it. Okay. Get my glue gun so it doesn't turn off. Okay, now we're gonna get the ribbon from the back and bring it forward. And we said it was 8. So we take it, bring it to the front, pinch it, and let's measure our loop. All right, that looks even. And then straighten out our ribbon and cut our tails. And that's our little bow. So now let's join our little bow with the second bow. Look how cute! Oh, I love this. I love bows. My youngest daughter put bows in her hair. I have a bow on my headband. And we're gonna take the back one and just put it right behind these, making sure my thumb does not lose my ribbon, my grip on them. And just straighten our ribbon so that it looks nice. Our loops aren't tangled. And now we're going to get our chenille stem and place it in the very back. And we're going to take our zip tie and just tie everything together. Now when we've tied it as tight as we can, now if you're having trouble tying the zip tie, if you grab this with your wire cutter, don't squeeze it, but pull it up, you can pull it with this as well. That way you're not just pulling it with your hands. You can pull it like this if it hurts too much or it bothers you, okay? And then we cut that. And we have our little legs, our Chanel legs, to be able to attach to our wreath. So just like we did our sign, we are going to attach our bow to our wreath. Now, our bow is a little bit different than our sign in the sense that we do want to make sure is on nice and tight, because bows have a tendency to droop if they're not. And we don't want droopy bows. So that's what our wreath looks like so far. Super adorable. Let's add some stuff to it. Okay, so here we are with a bird's eye view. And since we have coins here at the bottom, I thought it would be really cute to just, put some coins, like they're spilling out of his little potluck. Not potluck, his pot of gold. Potluck is a lunch. So I found these, a pack of these. It came with shamrocks and coins at, I believe that's from Hobby Lobby. So I think that looks really cute. Just a bunch of little coins everywhere. Falling down. It's just losing all his gold. And then I have these cute little shamrocks that I thought would just look really cute everywhere. And they're different shades of green. I don't like that shade though. It looks like a goldish greenish shade. Okay, so all we're going to do is take our hot glue gun, glue the back of our coin, and stick it where we want it. Now, if you move your coin just a wee bit, it helps bond it. It helps melt the plastic in the Deco Mesh. To it better. So take some glue and put it right directly on our coin, and then we're going to put it on our wreath. I like to lay out the places where I'm going to be gluing things on first, just so it kind of gives me an idea once I am putting it on. Because once you put glue on this, you really can't take it off anymore because the plastic's going to stick to it. And it would damage the Deco Mesh and it would just not look very pretty. Now, I will warn you that depending on the Styrofoam, some Styrofoam will melt with a glue gun that is just the high temperature one. So I always like to have a dual temp glue gun because I've had foam balls where they just crumble. Like literally it just makes a hole and I can't use it anymore. So when I use Styrofoam, I tend to use the low glue, the low heat setting on my glue gun. And that just helps. Depends on what material, you know, as crafters, we work with all kinds of different material. So having a dual temperature gun really helps, so you don't have to have two different ones. I did put a link to this one that I use, but it doesn't, you can use any glue gun you have. The one thing though I never stray from are my glue sticks. I always use Gorilla Glue, and most crafters that have been doing this for a while use Gorilla Glue because we have found through the years that our crafts stick. Whatever we've glued sticks more, it sticks for longer with Gorilla Glue. That stuff just adheres. To whatever it is you're gluing. So I will say use Gorilla Glue. And you can find Gorilla Glue anywhere. Now our ribbon is wired because wired ribbon holds its shape. So we're gonna curl our tails, give our tails some love. Now we could leave our tails like this, or we can dovetail them. Let's go ahead and dovetail them. So to dovetail, we take our ribbon, fold it in half, and then this is where the crease is, this is where the edges are. We just cut down, and that gives us a ducktail. So we're gonna dovetail, ducktail, dovetail. Woo! Remember DuckTales from back in the day? That's what I'm thinking about right now. My kids watch that show. It's such a good show. But we are dovetailing. Fold down. Just make sure you're folding towards the crease, not away, because otherwise you will make a spear. And now we're going to, again, roll our ribbon. And you see, the more you roll it, it just gives it more body. It gives it, your ribbon just looks nicer. Okay, let me put you guys facing up so you guys can see it. And this is our St. Patrick's Day wreath. Isn't that just so cute? I love it. He's falling into his pot of gold and his gold's falling out and there's just shamrocks everywhere. This is super fun, super easy to make. And the Mama Bear no fray method I just coined myself is a great way to make your wreath bases full. It's also great if you have trouble with your hands doing all the rolls and cutting all the mesh. This greatly reduces a lot of the effort. Now it does take a while, so you may need breaks because it is a lot to do 6 sections, but I think it might be easier for some of you. All right, guys, if you guys enjoyed this tutorial, please leave me a comment. Let me know what state you're from. I am in Texas. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you want to buy any of the material that I've used, I do have an Amazon link for some of the material that I have used. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next tutorial. Bye.